Hey everyone, it's Ken. The new chapter is finally here, or at least it's PTB, with a whole slew of changes and new additions to the game. Changes primarily being in some already existing killers. Pretty much all of them are warranted. My favorite one is of course the pig changes. Pig finally getting some semblance of a buff is good. Even though not being able to see the aura of the trap cages is kind of annoying at times. Thing is though, that just kind of prevents you from being able to get a kill with them, and they're not exactly designed to get kills. The bread traps are kind of designed for you just to get slowdown. All the other changes I'm a big fan of. Hunters getting faster movement speed and getting more handhits is good, and the fact that they did address that all these different add-ons that would affect these already existing stats are going to be adjusted. But I think we all know what we're here for, the new stuff added to the game. I'm first going to start with the map. I have to say the map is actually pretty decent. I'll still die on this hill that the worst part of the game is of course the horrible map design. We either have really good looking maps but perform really bad in gameplay, stuff like RPD or Garden of Joy. However, with this map, we have a nice little balance of the two. I'm not going to say it's the best designed map, but it is definitely better than those previous examples. But it does provide a really unique experience, even though it does reuse some assets, but let's be honest here, DBD reuses assets all the time, so it's not exactly a fair criticism. The map flows well and has a new little tile that allows you to have a double pallet drop. We all know what we're really here for, the new killer and survivor, so let's start off with the new survivor. The new survivor is Sable Ward. She comes with 3 new perks like all new survivors do. However, due to her being a friend of Michaela, I guess, she also brings in a new mechanic, and that is invocations. Invocations right now aren't that good, mainly because it is of course the first incarnation of it, but however I can see with some tweaking they can become much better. Invocations weaving spiders. The way this works is that at the basement there will be a circle where an invocation can start. A normal invocation will take roughly 120 seconds. During this time, your aura will be revealed to your teammates. And survivors without invocations themselves can come down and assist you for 50% increased speed. However, if one of the survivors have their own invocations, they actually help by 100% rather than 50%. Once the time has passed and the invocation is completed, you immediately get put into the broken status effect for the rest of the match, meaning you'll be unable to heal. However, there's a trade-off to this. You actually will cause all generators on the map to get 15 charges instantly. This means that you can only get really good value at the beginning of the match, and not really towards the end. A lot more value when you get over all the generators with a ton of charges rather than just 3. Her next perk is Strength in Shadows. This pretty much allows you to self-care in the basement at 60% of the normal healing speed. However, this isn't just it. They couldn't just trade off being able to heal anywhere just to heal only in the basement. Once you complete healing in the basement, you will actually reveal the killer's aura for 10 seconds. Meaning you do have a bit more information and also manage to heal yourself at the same time. And lastly, but kind of least, honestly this is the worst thing in the entire update, and that is Wicked. Wicked is probably the most lackluster perk of this entire chapter. This perk starts with 1 token for a maximum of 5. For each token you have, you recover from the Mangled status effect, which has been changed in this update to only exist for a certain amount of time, 20% faster. For each 15 seconds spent in the basement, you get 1 token. And while you're affected by a curse, you heal 10% faster. This entire perk is kind of lackluster. It's not really situational, it's just not good even in good situations. The only real reason why you should run this perk in live is when you want to get the Adept challenge. And one last thing I want to say about Sable is she has probably one of the best designs in the entire game. Just like Michaela, I can imagine she's going to get some really good skins, and I know for a fact I'll be maining her when she comes out. Now let's go into the real star of the show, the Unknown. I'm going to start off with his power, the UVX. The UVX is a pretty interesting ability, kind of a combination of multiple killer abilities. Basically the way it works is that you can shoot out this projectile. This projectile can actually bounce off surfaces, and when it lands on the ground, it will kind of make a blast of an AoE effect. Any survivors caught in this AoE effect will actually become weakened, a brand new stats effect. While the survivor is weakened, if they're ever hit by the AoE of the projectile again, they will actually lose the health state, meaning they'll go from healthy to injured and injured to down. I haven't tested if endurance will prevent this, however I'm pretty sure it will. I'm wondering, how do you cleanse this weakened stats effect? It's actually really unique. Unlike the artist where you have to kind of just hold mouse 1 while running, you actually have to keep prolonged eye contact with the Unknown, meaning the Unknown gets really good value from line of sight blockers. His power does roughly recharge quicker than you can dispel the effect, however, if he hesitates, he might not be able to get the injure. So you might constantly go behind different surfaces in order to prevent you from being able to see him. It's a pretty interesting ability, however I do think pretty simple. However, his most complex ability is the hallucinations. The way they work is that every now and then they will drop on the ground. This unknown husk will not have a Terius, but will make noises every now and then, possibly to catch off guard some survivors. However, the real treat of this ability is being able to instantaneously teleport between these different husks. However, once you do it, all of them become inactive and you must wait a short period before you can re-teleport to another one. The survivors will not only get a notification for when you teleport or when you teleport to a husk, but they'll also be able to see when all the husks bend down to kind of show that they're currently on cooldown. The survivors can also dispel the husk by walking up to them and interacting with them. Overall, his power is pretty interesting, has a huge learning curve, especially with the ricochets you can do with his power, but overall I do think it's a bit niche. I don't have any direct problems with it, as I do think it's a pretty interesting ability. It definitely does come as a nice breath of fresh air, at least when it comes to original killers, when you're comparing it to someone like Knight and Skull Merchant. Singularity was cool and had a really good learning curve, and I do think that the Unknown will actually follow suit with a similar level of learning curve. However, let's move on to his perks. Firstly, Unbound. This perk activates 30 seconds after a survivor becomes injured. After vaulting a window, you gain 5% haste for 10 seconds. Do keep in mind that this effect cannot stack with itself, however it is assumed that it will be able to stack with a lot of other movement speeds. I can imagine this being really good if you run a full build built around it. Like for example, you might be able to run 3 perks to make this really good. For example, if you're looping in Shack Palette, you might be able to use something like Bamboozle and Hex Blood Favor, hit the survivor in order to get the perk to activate, and also get Hex Blood Favor to activate, and be able to jump over the window in order to get that haste, and they'll be caught off guard by Blood Favor. I do think it has some pretty cool niche situations, and overall it's pretty good. Up next is Undone. When a survivor misses a healing or repair skill check, gain 3 tokens for a maximum of 30. When you perform a break action on a generator, if you have any tokens, they all get consumed. For each token consumed, the generator loses 1% of its total progress, and then becomes blocked for 1 second. Only then, once a generator is unblocked, will it begin to regress naturally. This perk then goes on cooldown for 60 seconds. Overall, I do think this perk is really good for an impossible skill check build, especially for Doctor. However, once you get to the higher MMR, you're really not going to see that many missed skill checks. I can say while playing the PTB, both testing on and off stream, I have seen a wide range of value from this perk. There was literally a match I did off stream where I got a 0 charges, and I got a 4K. So I'm not sure if you get a lot of use out of this. Up next is Unforeseen. When you perform a break action on the generator, your Terius then transfers that generator for 30 seconds, and the radius is set to 32 meters and you become undetectable. Then this perk goes on cooldown for 30 seconds. Yet another cool perk, but I think this is the most situational or niche out of all 3 of them. I can't really see a lot of situations where this is useful, when you can simply run other perks that have a similar effect, if not better. I think we can all agree that overall, the killer got the longer end of the stick when it comes to perks. However, this is a pretty good pool of perks. I do think the new map is great. Killer is fun, if not a bit of a steep learning curve. New survivor looks amazing and adds a new cool little tool for us to use. And they made some changes to already existing killers. I do think overall this is a really good chapter, and when it comes out, I'm going to be excited to see how they're going to alter it, if at all. Without further ado, I do hope you all enjoyed this video. Please do consider checking me out live on my Twitch, link will be in the description and in the pinned comment. Hope you all did enjoy the video. Bye.